WCSM's General Store is recorded at 70X7 Studios. WCSM is brought to you by Chad's Express Lube and Car Care Center. Christine Flynn, your local farmer's insurance agent. For Good Reasons Roofing, your hometown roofing specialist. The AME Group, for all your technology and computer needs. And by Sanders Insurance, your independent insurance experts. And now, WCSM's General Store crew.
That was a Mark.
Yeah, that was totally. Totally. Carter pulled a Mark on us, didn't he?
Yeah, he really did. He really did.
Well, welcome to the show on this Friday from the 70X7 studio. And I would like to apologize to our producers, Mike and Carter.
Should.
I forgot to mention them last week, and I felt horrible all week about it.
I felt bad for you because you had to wait a week.
I know.
To
So
even
I'm
redeem.
gonna just say it twice.
Yeah.
Mike and Carter, thank you for producing.
Yes. Can you believe those guys have been with us a year now?
I can't
Over a
believe
year
they were
now?
with us a day after they met us.
It was real nice of them, wasn't it?
Yeah, it
It
was.
was real Christian-like.
I don't know why
Extra grace required. Right
God
there.
has blessed us with those two, but he sure has,
Yes.
for sure.
Thank you both.
So, yeah,
Appreciate it.
thank you so much. Well, welcome to the show. We're glad that you're here. And what you want to do now? You want to do the...
Well, you got to give me a minute.
Oh, no, that's fine.
Can you tap your heels a little
fine.
bit? Just
There's no
place like home.
There's no place like
I knew
home.
you were going to do that.
No place like home.
Yeah, I'll find them.
That was my favorite. That was probably my favorite movie growing up. Scared.
It could, yeah.
It was an event, wasn't it?
Yes. Yes.
Just
It
watching
wasn't
the
a-
lady on the bicycle.
Oh.
It
Yeah,
was
she made
frightening.
me mad.
She was frightening. Yeah.
She made me mad because she's going after Toto.
Yeah.
And then Toto became a band. And
Yeah.
this
She
one
had
time
a-
at band camp.
She had a Toto attitude.
And the bass player left and went to the Eagles.
Yes,
Did that happen? Yeah.
this is how we get off the rails.
This is definitely how we get off the rails.
Okay.
Definitely. But that movie was an event. You remember?
I waited
when we were
every-
growing up,
Yes.
we
Yeah,
had
it's
to
a
wait
big
for
deal.
it.
like April
To
1st.
come on,
It was like
yeah.
right around April 1st.
We had to wait for it to come
Big
on
deal.
TV. Everybody knew it was because you checked
Yeah.
the TV guide.
And it was
Same.
always
Oh,
like
yeah.
spring tornado season.
And then
yeah.
you would talk about it the next day at school because it
Yeah,
was cool.
so
Oh,
cool.
did you guys see that?
Yeah.
Did you watch Wizard of Oz?
Did you watch Wizard of Oz? Yeah, it's so cool.
Yeah, so good. I just watched it recently, but it takes the. I think they have taken the magic out of movies or films when
Agreed.
you can watch them whenever you want to.
Yeah, agreed. My great-grandmother told me that when she went to the theater to watch Wizard of Oz, that the entire theater gasped when it went from black and white.
Oh, I bet.
The entire theater went.
I think that was the first movie that did that.
Yeah.
That was. I think that
They
was.
were blown away.
I think that's when
Mind-
they introduced colored film. I
Mind
think that
blown.
was huge.
I mean, she couldn't believe it.
can you imagine being there?
Oh my, yeah. It's
Man.
like seeing electricity for the first
Yeah.
time.
Yeah.
So
And wow. Before we move on, I just want to give credit where it's due. Judy Garland's voice.
Oh,
Hello. And she was older. Like, I want to say she was near 30, I think, when she
that right?
was in that movie. She was older, but she, of course, was portraying a young girl. Of course, she was always so tiny and petite.
Yeah.
But her voice,
Yeah.
ooh,
Yeah.
and Somewhere Over the Rainbow.
Oh, classic.
Yeah, so good. So
Yeah,
good.
love her.
All right, how about those good old boys and good old girls?
Yeah, let's talk about them for just a little bit. Good old
She clicked
boys.
her heels for you.
Good old
Yes, I
she
did.
Yes, thank you. Cindy Jackson is where we'll start tonight. Pam Thrasher, Kathy Martinek, also Angela Brown, Deborah Smock, Stephen Hawkins, Jane Hanser, Tony Staggs, classmate of mine. Thank you, Tony, for tuning in. Steve Stickland, also Becky Strausser, Marcy Krebs, who used to write for the Herald Times. She was on the police beat when I was PI.
Nice.
So Bill Babcock, Danny Todd, Adam Singleton, Mike Workman, and Bonnie Snow. Thank
Very
you,
good.
Bonnie. Also Margaret Rocky. Before I
Thank
go away.
you.
Thank you all. So
Thank you so much.
appreciate you.
Well, you know, over the course of this last year, we've discussed favorite movies and favorite television shows. One thing we never got to discuss was favorite or like concerts or bands or whatever. Like so, I thought it'd be fun to kind of say, do you remember your first concert?
Not really, but I could probably get a pinpoint on it because I was very blessed growing up. Dad was a state trooper, and he would work the state fair every year. So
awesome.
so yeah, they would always have us up, and back then the stage, well, not back then, until recently, really, the stage was right there on the track.
Right.
So we could just come in and stand, and it wasn't a problem. So I saw lots of
Now,
acts.
were you a young boy
Yeah,
at the time?
yeah, in the 70s, early 80s, that way. So that's probably why I'm such a big Statler Brothers fan, because they were there every single year and absolutely loved them. Ronnie Millsap, the Gatlin Brothers, that type of thing. But if we're asking about like
Favorite, like
the concert that blew me away,
yeah.
I was very fortunate to see the Eagles in concert, and I that probably, other than
Back in the day, before they broke up.
No.
Hell Freezes Over.
with the long good. Well, no, wasn't the long goodbye. It was like 4 or 5 years ago.
Okay.
Is when I saw him.
Was
Vince was with him.
Okay, so you didn't see them with Glenn
That's
Frey.
when Vince and I had a
Okay.
conversation when he was on stage and I was in the crowd. I've told you about.
Oh yes, yeah.
So it was a night that I put right up there with my wedding and the birth of my kids.
Now,
Wow.
We
Yeah.
saw.
Yeah.
I want to say my brother Randy saw the Eagles back in the day at Assembly Hall.
Assembly Hall, yeah.
I think he got to see them there.
Beach Boys were there too, I think.
Yes, I
Mercy.
think that's right. And my dad and my brother Randy both. I mean, goodness, Eagles always, all the time playing. We loved the Eagles, right?
Yeah.
And of course, my dad introduced me. And we talked about this before, that Dad introduced me to all the music, all the things, Steppenwolf, Canned Heat, Lou Rawls, Al Green, all the things. But he also was a big fan of that West Coast music, Linda Ronstadt, Jackson Browne, the Eagles.
Yes.
Yes. Stone Pony, all those were that West Coast, from California. And so we were huge Eagles fans. And the harmonies, and of course, me and my brother and my dad, we sang together.
Yeah.
But that was pre MTV and videos, so
Yeah.
I never realized until the Hell Freezes Over tour when they finally got back together.
Yeah.
Because they were
Which was
broke up and a lot of
5-ish.
Yeah.
4-ish, 5-ish.
yeah,
6-ish.
probably.
Yeah.
And they were angry at each other for years. Nobody ever saw this coming, and it would not have happened had
Travis Tritt.
well, it was the
Thread.
the country tribute album to
Yeah.
the Eagles.
Yeah.
But Travis Tritt did Take It Easy.
Take it easy.
And invited them to be a part of that video and everything. And that's what got them back together.
You're right.
And they healed, and then they came out with the Hell Freezes Over tour, because everybody said they'll never hell would have to freeze over for them to get back together, right? That's where that came from.
Right.
So until that happened, I'd had no idea that Don Henley played drums, that what song he sang Hotel California, who sang what, that Timothy B. Schmidt sang this,
Right.
and that Glenn Frey played keyboards, and that, you know what I mean? I didn't know who all of the things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then when I got to see them, it was that is so cool, because for the Hell Freezes Over, they did an HBO special, and Don got on the drums and Glenn Frey was on keyboards, and it was so cool then to see them after all those years later.
Right. You think about how talented Don Henley was. Is.
And he was Timothy B. Schmidt was awesome. What a great vocalist. He played bass. But Don Henley's the guy, for me.
How do you beat on a drum the entire show and still sing with that voice?
And each hand, both feet are all doing something different. I mean, it's it's like steel guitars.
Right.
Steel guitar players being able to sing. It's crazy.
Right. I remember when we were in the academy, they had us do the cadence while we were running, right? And I thought how hard that was. Yeah. But here's this guy. I mean, he's all over the place.
Yeah.
Both hands, both feet, and singing with that.
Yeah. Phil Collins too, obviously.
Right.
He played
Crazy
drums.
talent. Crazy talent.
Yeah. So good. Yeah. So I love that. Yeah. Eagles.
Another talented drummer that people don't give her credit for is Karen Carpenter.
Oh,
She was a drummer and very talented, and of course her voice
unbelievable,
second to none.
Yeah,
yeah,
for sure. Yeah, people don't realize
they don't.
Of course,
great musician
Peter
was.
Criss sang Beth for Kiss. You don't forget
Yes.
that.
Yeah.
There you go.
Did he hear her calling?
I don't know.
Beth, I hear you calling.
I think he did.
You know,
But
but
I
what you were
can't
talking about
go
earlier,
on
before
right now.
MTV,
That was the only Kiss song I knew.
Really?
But
Yeah.
before MTV, what you were talking about with the Eagles, how you didn't realize who did what.
Yeah. Was
the
the-
same was with Kiss. Everybody thought Gene Simmons sang all the songs until you went to saw him in concert and Paul Stanley's actually singing.
Yeah, yeah.
It's like,
Right.
I didn't know Gene didn't sing the songs.
Well,
I
Gene
thought-
Simmons can't sing. His
Very-
tongue's
not
always
like
hanging
that.
out. Well, I mean, how do you sing with the tongue hanging out? I mean,
But it was, everybody just had, for whatever reason, I don't know, growing up, we thought Gene was the
Yes.
lead man. He was singing the
Yeah.
songs. Then all of a sudden, because there was no MTV, you never
Right.
saw the groups.
Right.
And all you had was the record album, and Gene was featured on all
That's
the
right.
albums.
yeah.
That's right.
So then everybody's like, wow, Paul
Yeah.
Stanley's he's the singer.
MTV really changed
Changed
Oh,
everything.
yeah.
changed everything
It did.
in that aspect for
Oh,
sure.
It
absolutely.
really did. The music video really killed our imagination, is what it did.
Yes.
It really did. Left
Yeah.
nothing
Yeah.
for us to think about anymore because it was right there. So
And I think it also probably, I'm just guessing, I don't know. I've never heard any interviews to say this, but I would think that that's kind of helped to create some tension in a lot of bands, because when you're listening and you can't see what the
Right.
good point.
guys look like,
Yeah.
who you're going to fall in love with as a teen,
Right.
you know what I mean?
Right. Right.
It was just it was about their music.
Yeah.
It wasn't about their look.
Totally.
And I think it also damaged the music industry as a whole, because then it was less about the music and it was more about
Right.
the look. I mean,
Right.
not that there's a lot of Shania Twain fans, I know that, but Shania's music was more about her look than it was about her music. Because like Mutt Lange, who was her husband
Mm-hmm.
and producer, a lot of that was a lot of studio magic,
Right.
and he did a lot of loops.
Faith Hill was the same way, really.
Yeah, I mean,
and I think it's something we have to be careful with as a podcast.
Yeah.
Our video, because we don't want to get the jealousy rolling through.
Right,
here, of
right.
course,
I mean, because people are going to fall in love with you and not Mark, or Bill and not you. I mean,
it's a
don't
problem
do
that we may have to
that.
address.
Yeah, we'll have
We
to.
don't-
We want to be careful.
Oh my gosh, we want to be totally careful. Yeah.
I mean, we all know Curt is your favorite.
Yeah.
You're the only one that understands me.
I know, I know.
Well,
honey,
it did
I know.
affect Curt, because remember the very first episode, he
Oh.
was mad that he didn't have his best.
He had to change.
I had to
seats.
change
So,
sides.
see,
That's right.
It not only affects our viewers, it affects how you're presented.
Exactly
Yeah, I
right.
mean, he's
so
such a
video
prima donna.
killed the audio star.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah,
So,
for sure. Well,
good stuff.
I love how you are able to turn the conversation to you.
I want to, but I do.
You know what? That is literally the definition of narcissist.
Don't tear up the mic.
Oh, that's a little
I'm
harsh.
kidding.
That's
I'm
a little
kidding. I'm
harsh, don't you
kidding.
think?
No, I'm
just for entertainment value.
No, it is.
Changing it up just a little bit. I do want to hear Bill's because he's a big music man, and I want to hear what concert he enjoyed
Oh, enjoyed?
the most. Yeah,
I'll never forget.
because I know you've had a
I was
ton of
walking
you've been
in-
to.
Didn't have tickets to go into this concert.
Okay, I like the way this is starting.
Walking into Assembly Hall, there was a guy walking out, sold me tickets, 8 rows from the front, right in the middle, for Bachman Turner Overdrive,
Wow.
REO Speedwagon, and the Doobie Brothers.
Wow,
That was awesome.
wow,
That was an awesome.
We need to
Like
hear more.
back in the day when they were like
About 76.
REO Speedwagon. Oh, right here, man.
Yeah,
Yeah. They were on their second single.
Yeah.
That Michael Murphy.
High Infidelity hadn't come out
Yeah.
yet.
Oh,
Yeah.
so good.
So, yep.
Yeah.
You
it was a good
lucky
concert.
dog.
Yeah.
That's good.
That's awesome.
BTO was good too.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
Now you mentioned canned heat. Is that why you have a thing for canned meat?
Yes, it is. That's
Is it?
exactly it.
Okay, I thought maybe
I'm glad
it's
you someone finally caught
that
that.
mental thing, that
Yeah,
mental block
yeah.
there for
She
canned,
eats it
canned
Candy.
meat.
while she's listening
To canned heat.
I eat my
Right.
canned meat while I'm listening to the canned heat.
It's not a bad idea. Might make it taste better.
Yeah.
There you go.
Maybe
Well,
I should
Curt
try
will never
that.
know.
It's warm.
No.
Let's see if he will.
No.
I've been trying for years. Stay close. We'll be back with more on the General Store after this.
Farmers Insurance agent Christine Flynn put her experience to work for you. Christine Flynn proudly serves Monroe, Lawrence, and Greene County families and businesses and is ready to review your existing policies or provide a no-obligation quote today. Call Christine Flynn at 812-822-2905 to get smarter about your insurance. Again, that's Christine Flynn at 812-822-2905. We know a thing or two because we've seen a thing or two.
We are farmers. Bum, ba-dum, bum, 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 bum.
Underwritten by Farmers Truck Fire Insurance Exchanges and Affiliates. Products not available in every state.
Chad's Express Lube and Car Care Center is the place that you need to go to keep your car running in perfect order. On the outside chance your car is not running in perfect order, Chad's has a shop over on State Road 46 in Ellisville that'll give you a free estimate and reasonable rates and get your car back on the road. Now, to keep it that way, you need to hightail it over to Chad's Express Lube and Car Care Center located at 1357 South Liberty Drive. You know exactly where that is. That's just right around the corner from Menards. Now, check this out. Every 7th oil change is free. That's right, absolutely free. I don't think you can get any better than that. Chad's Express Lube and Car Care Center, 1357 South Liberty Drive in Bloomington. For Good Reasons Roofing, the number 4, goodreasons.com. They want to be your local hometown roofing specialist. Whether it's hail damage, storm damage, worn out, just plain old damage, or maybe it's new construction. Whatever your 4 reasons are to have a new roof, their 4 good reasons are honesty, integrity, quality, and kindness. For Good Reasons Roofing. Give them a call, 812-360-4469. They will come and give you a free inspection and a transparent quote. You will be completely satisfied because the owner, Tony Pulliam, would not let it be anything less than your satisfaction. So look for them at forgoodreasons.com, the number 4, goodreasons.com, or call them today, 812-360-4469. For Good Reasons Roofing, your local hometown roofing specialist.
What can I do? Ba, ba, ba. Oh, that was such a great song. That's the only, like I said, that's the only Kiss song that I knew was actually Kiss. I mean, you said what? There was.
I'm gonna rock and roll all night. You've sure.
I'm gonna rock and roll all night. Yeah, I didn't know that was Kiss.
Every day. And you gotta know Detroit Rock City.
How's it go?
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, I don't know that.
Oh yeah, you do.
Yeah,
How's it go?
That's the song they start every concert.
I've heard that one.
Yeah.
You've heard it, I guarantee.
How does Detroit Rock City go? Anybody know?
It starts off.
Give me 2 seconds.
Because that's the song they start every concert with. They go, "You wanted the best, you've got the best, Kiss." There it is. It's a great song to start off a concert.
Yeah.
They were an exciting stage show. They were a show.
Oh, yeah.
Is there any words?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Wow.
You'll know the words when you hear it. Yeah.
Woo.
Uh-oh.
Welcome back to the general store. All right, so we're talking about favorite bands, favorite concerts, or maybe first concerts. So we were just wrapping up with Bill.
Yeah.
You got how old were you when you went to that concert?
Mid-20s, something like that. It's been
Wow.
a day or two.
Wow. So, Bachman Turner Overdrive,
You still got the ticket stub?
REO Speedwagon,
That'd be. Oh,
Yeah.
that's
and
cool.
the Doobie Brothers before Michael McDonald.
Yes.
But REO Speedwagon didn't have Kevin Cronin, you said. It had
No.
another guy that was kind of this interim.
Yeah, he left they got into it, I think, after their first album. And
You can tune a piano, but you can't tune a fish.
Exactly. Or, no, that was Joe
No,
Walsh.
No.
Was that Joe Walsh? I remember that album cover.
Okay.
Right? It
No,
was a
that was
fish.
REO Speedwagon, wasn't it?
Well, let's
Look it
just
up.
find out.
It might have been. I don't know.
Let's just find out.
But yeah, they substituted a different Michael McDonald into their band.
Oh.
And they end up after the first. I think they
And got Kevin back.
Yeah, they got
Because Kevin,
he was the
that we
band.
were talking about that at the break. Yeah, you can tune a piano, but you can't.
That's REO Speedwagon.
You can tune a piano,
Yeah.
but you can't tune a fish. I don't know if you can see that or not.
Did
But,
Walsh? Walsh had another cover that was
He
kind
must
of
have.
similar to that. Yeah. yeah.
I'm a huge REO Speedwagon fan, man. But Kevin Cronin, his voice, the way he pronounced words and would draw the word. I mean, I don't even know how else to. It's almost like he made love to every syllable. You know what I mean? I'm a huge fan of his. Love REO Speedwagon. But
Gary Richrath, their guitar player, and him they just meshed. I mean, the singing and the
Did you
guitar
say
player.
Riff Raff?
Gary,
Now you got him confused.
now you got me.
Was it Riff Raff?
Richrath.
Rich Raff. Rich Raff. Okay.
Had to stop.
As I don't like listening to all that Riff Raff.
so good. That's a dream concert.
Yeah.
That's a dream concert.
That was
That's
good.
so cool.
Yeah.
That was a lot of fun.
So was that your first concert?
No.
Oh, okay.
No, I've seen a bunch of bands, Richie Haven and a bunch of them out
Wow.
in the field at 10th Street Stadium years back.
Wow.
So that outdoor concert.
Oh,
it was
yeah.
a lot of fun.
That's cool.
The old,
awesome.
the old
Yeah,
football.
straight
The old
Stadium.
football stadium.
My
Mhm.
goodness, Bill.
Yes, I know.
Yeah.
I know.
So-
they were, it was had an orchestra.
Right,
No.
right.
So was that your favorite concert, you think?
No.
What would you say your favorite concert of all that you've seen?
I've seen a lot of them. That Doobie Brothers that's pretty hard to beat, but also the Eagles and Beach Boys.
Now, did you see the Eagles at Assembly Hall back in
Yes.
the day? Yeah.
So this is before the breakup.
Right.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
It was good.
Did you see Elvis when he was here?
Nope, didn't see him.
Okay.
Didn't see him. Seen the Stones there,
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
and then I seen him in Indianapolis as well.
No kidding.
So-
And they're still going.
You believe that?
Yeah.
I can, oddly enough. I've said this before, I think, but
amazing.
when this world is like imploding or like it gets nuked or whatever,
Yeah.
Cher and Keith Richards,
Keith Richards.
they're going to survive it.
Willie, and Willie
There,
Nelson.
there are only hope.
Yeah.
Willie,
It's
yeah.
crazy. Maybe Willie.
That's
Yeah,
good.
maybe
That's a
Willie.
good point.
So what was do you remember your first concert?
Yeah, my first concert was at Assembly Hall. Other than the country music shows we used to go to when I was a kid, we saw Kenny Rogers and Eddie Rabbitt at Indiana State, what's that called, Holman Center.
Oh,
We went there when I was in high school, I think, and that was a big deal for us. You know?
Mm-hmm.
But Electric Light Orchestra I saw in high school. Hall & Oates was their front band at Assembly Hall. That was a very good concert.
Hall & Oates is another great band from
yeah,
back in the day.
yeah,
They were so
yeah,
good.
very
Or I guess
yeah.
I shouldn't say band, but duo. Yeah.
That and saw some others. I saw. I think it was called Quarter Flash. They were at the auditorium. They only had a couple hits. But
Yeah, I don't
they
know.
Were hot
Harden
in the
My
80s.
Heart.
Yeah, yeah. They only,
Heart in my
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good song.
Yeah, it is.
They're
Yeah,
like
I-
a one-hit wonder then,
Yeah.
apparently, because
Yeah.
that's
Are they the one that sounded like Pat Benatar?
Yes, yeah.
okay.
yeah,
Mhm.
exactly.
Yeah.
Yep. So I would love to sell Pat Benatar.
Pat Benatar.
I'd
Love her too.
Yeah.
Yes.
Blondie. I would like to see Blondie. In it.
I was never a big Deborah Harry fan. I mean,
I like the music.
but I just didn't listen to her music a lot. Maybe I guess, but love Pat Benatar.
yeah.
But anyway,
No, I love Heart of Glass that Blondie does, and Miley Cyrus just came out with a remake of that. and
No
she-
kidding.
She tears it up. She
Really?
Yeah. So-
Bad.
No, she
Oh,
does
good.
very good. It's a good. She
Tears
her
it up.
voice,
Yeah.
in a good
Good.
way.
good in a good way.
Yeah.
Okay.
So what was your favorite though?
Well, my favorite of all time was the Statler Brothers at Nashville because of the people that were there. Kurt was there with me on that one. Or my parents were there. I think my entire family was there, and we had about probably 30 people there total from
It was
state
amazing.
police and
Yeah.
we had I think the first 3 rows completely filled.
Yeah.
Wow, that's cool.
Front
Awesome.
rows, and it was awesome. It was just a perfect night, and it
was.
just, it
Man, the
felt
Little
like
Nashville Opry was
Oh, yeah.
so good to go see
was.
live music because it was intimate, and I mean in the back it was a little harder to see because the auditorium was not
Right.
stacked or whatever.
Right, yeah.
So those back seats were a little bit harder, but man, if you were lucky enough to get up in the front.
Oh, my.
yeah.
Yeah, they were. It was a great place to see. And they brought all the all the stars.
We got to meet George Jones.
there,
Mm-hmm.
yep.
Mark and I did, and he even recorded. Do you remember this when he
Cop
recorded
Talk.
Yeah.
Cop Talk liner for us?
Did a
Yes.
great job.
Yeah, it was awesome.
Nailed it the first time.
He did. Oh, I know.
Yeah.
I know. Yeah.
It was awesome. So,
It's so funny. Of course, I started performing live music the summer between my junior and senior year. So I would have been, I guess, 16, turning 17 maybe, down in Bloomfield,
Right.
which is where your brother where you and I met too. And,
Right,
but
sure.
your Brett and I started playing music together. I don't remember my first concert. I don't think I probably had been to a concert before I stared performing myself.
that's probably you're pretty young.
Yeah,
when
I
you
was
were
young.
singing, Yeah.
So
I bet you remember that Eddie Rabbit concert, though, don't you?
I do remember that one very well, and it's funny. I think probably the first concert I remember. I guess I should say it's probably the first concert I had gone to was I had been asked, so way back in the day, like when I was like 15, probably 15, 16 years old, I dated Jim Eating Coffee. And I became very close to all his family. So his mom, Sally, and her sisters, Sylvie, Sandy, and Susie, the Brown sisters. And Red Hudson, or not the Brown sisters, the Hudson sisters. And Red Hudson was their dad, and which Red... do you remember Red Hudson? Mm-hmm. He always would have gospel sings at IU
Awesome, too. They
at the
were great
auditorium.
groups,
I'm like the old
Florida Boys.
Florida Boys and the
Blackwood Brothers, that kind of stuff.
The old Southern gospel.
Yeah.
He would and they were like overnight gospel sings. Like they'd start at like 7 and they'd sing until like he'd have like 10 acts come or something. It was crazy.
My mom and dad would go to them.
So good.
They were awesome.
And so Red had an old RV, and so Sandy, Susie, Sylvie, and Sally, the Hudson sisters, his daughters, and then there was a couple of their friends went, but they invited me to go, and we went to Nashville. I'll never forget it. Red drove the RV.
Well, you had the right first name.
Yep, Red drove the Red drove the RV, and then one of the other sisters was sitting up here, but I can remember sitting in between the two front seats, and I was like giving Red a manicure on our way. We loved Red. I loved Red Hudson, but I got to go to the Grand Ole Opry with them.
Cool.
What?
And that was my first time. I think that was my first concert was going to the Opry with them. They took me to the Grand Ole Opry.
Oh, how special.
The
And
Opry's
then
cool.
I don't even really remember who was there. Isn't that sad? But I can remember telling them I want to be on the other side of that microphone. Mm-hmm. And so it was because of them that when I got back home, they knew Susie in particular, Susie Brown, knew Lloyd Wood and at the time Lloyd was singing at the Opry, and so that's how I got my foot in the door at the Opry, was after that trip to the Grand Ole Opry in Nashville, Tennessee with Red and his daughters. Got me in the Little Nashville Opry, and then I won the talent show there, and then but that's like, I never really went to concerts because I was always the opening act at them, which is kind of weird. But I got to open for a lot of great artists. Like George Strait. Like when I won the Little Nashville Opry talent contest, the year I won, I was 18. I think it was the January of my senior year, maybe. Or no, it was the January after I'd graduated. I won their talent show, and when you won their talent show, you got to pick the artist you opened for. I picked George Strait, and this was back when he was just new. Like he had Unwound and his first album.
He wasn't the king yet.
No, but man, he was incredible, so nice, and his band was awesome. And I saw them several times after that, and they remembered me and all that. It was so cool. But yeah, probably my best memory was going to the Eddie Rabbit concert there, and I was a huge fan of his. But they would let me just come, and I get to go backstage or whatever. But
right.
I would just go up and sit with the owner's wife, Mrs. Hamilton, and right on the front row and watch. And I loved Eddie Rabbit, and so he did this thing where he, every which way you but loose, you turn me from the Clint Eastwood movie.
Yep.
So he'd split the audience in half. He did that at all of his concerts, and he'd have one side sing it and one side, it's kind of this battle of the sides.
Yeah.
And so my mom, who was managing my singing career at the time, she was sitting up in the front row with me too. And when Eddie was like, it was dead silent. And he was like, okay, this side's going to sing this and this side's going to sing that. And Mom was like, she can sing. She can sing, Sheila Stephen. And I was like, oh, I wanted to crawl under the bench. And I was like, oh. But thank God she did that and Eddie was such an awesome guy because he was like, oh, can she? Like, he was like, okay.
All right.
So he got down on his knee and he's like, all right, come here. Like, I think he was going to, like, try to prove Mom wrong.
Yeah.
And so he had the microphone and the band was playing it in his key, and I knew I couldn't sing it in his key. So when the band started, he was like, every which way, and he'd, like, put the mic in my face so I'd start singing it, and I grabbed the mic, and I split the difference between the two of us, and I started singing the harmony part. And then he was like, okay then, all right. Well, okay. So I got to go backstage and meet him after that. Well, then I pulled one on him. I was like, because he did, at the time, he had the Just You and I hit out with him and Crystal Gale.
Yeah.
Crystal wasn't there, but he had her voice that synced up. And so the band would play it, he would sing it live, and then Crystal's voice would come on and sing her part.
Right.
So I was like, hey, Eddie, old pal, old buddy, old pal. If, the next time Crystal Gale can't make it, I'll be glad to fill in for her. And he called me on it again. He was like, oh, okay. Stick around for the second show and I'll bring you out. And I was like, oh, my dad, are you kidding me? Because I was like, I don't even know if I know the words. So, and I did. I went up there and he pulled me up on stage and I sang it with him. And he was the kindest man. For 10 years, I would travel around the Midwest if I knew he was singing.
Right.
And as soon as I got there, I'd let the band know I was there, and I became very good friends with all of his band members. And I'd say, hey guys, while they were setting up, and they would let Eddie know I was there, and he'd pull me up on stage every time. For 10 years, I traveled around, but Eddie's the one that got me into Nashville and helped me. He was such a kind soul, but it all happened because Mom was like, hey, she can sing, which I hated, but then I'm so thankful.
Worked out.
Yeah. So that's probably my favorite concert.
Awesome.
There you go.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Very good.
My favorite Eddie Rabbitt song is not one that he sang. It's one that he wrote.
Oh, yeah?
Pure Love.
Yeah.
For Ronnie Millsap.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Which he said was meant to be a joke song. He just wrote it as a joke.
Yeah.
Ronnie
He was
picked it
such
up.
an incredible writer. His first song when he came to town, he was a Jersey boy. He came from New Jersey, moved to Nashville with like had $5 in his pocket, and went down there to write and wrote Kentucky Rain, and that was his first song he ever got recorded.
Wow.
I did not realize he wrote Kentucky Rain. Really? Because Ronnie Millsap plays piano on that with Elvis.
Which is probably the connection.
I would say you're right. Yeah.
But that was Eddie Rabbitt's
I did
first
not
song that he
realize
got
that.
recorded
How
before
about
he ever,
that?
when he was just writing and was not an
It was like
artist
late
yet.
60s, early 70s. Yeah.
Very talented.
Yeah. Unbelievable.
He was such a kind man.
Yep.
It's so sad.
I still miss him. I still miss him.
Ton of hits.
Yep. Oh yeah. He was like a rock star back in the day. His band could tell a lot of stories. This has been a fun conversation. I could talk about music and bands all day. So, well, thank you so much for joining us on this Friday. If it's the Lord's will, we'll do it all again next week right here at the General Store.